These earphones.
Yep.
The reason why we get you to wear these earphones is because we want to see if you can speak into the mic.
Yep.
If we're talking to me, what happens is that situation doesn't get as much. So we want when you're trying to have the mic into it. If you have the headphones, you can hear yourself.
Yeah.
And you can hear others, and you can hear what the listeners will be hearing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So easy.
All good, buddy. So we're going to go on in about 50 seconds.
Yes. Jingle, jingle. Here, you can sit here.
Thank you.
What an awesome day. Are
Yes,
we back
fantastic.
on Facebook Live?
Yeah,
we
we're
still
back
continue?
on Facebook. Yeah, we couldn't. For some reason, I couldn't. Hi guys, we're back.
We're back.
I just wanted to cut it so it'll be easier to edit later.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Super
so we're gonna
excited
go
to
on-
have you here, Stefano.
Pretty excited. Thank you for having me on the show. It's great.
Oh, okay, so you've got a fellow American. Are you American?
I'm not actually.
Oh, I thought you had a hint of American.
Well, there's an American accent, but I'm Italian.
Yes!
Oh my gosh, my battery is low.
Oh, no. I don't have my little cord thing as well. That's alright, we'll
Okay.
get into it.
We'll just get into
Ready?
it. Yeah.
Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Weekend Wellness Show. We are back live on Facebook and on the Bondi Radio app. Super excited. My name is Liam Zollo, your host. If you don't know who it is, with Sheena Alexandra and
Woo!
the Italian stallion with an American accent, Stefano. What's your last name, Stefano?
Portaluri.
What's that?
Portaluri.
Portaluri.
Nice
Oh,
Italian there.
nice Italian. Hey, guess what my last name is? Zollo.
Zollo.
Where's that from?
Where's that from?
Italiano.
Hey,
Sì,
that's a
bello,
fellow Italian.
bello. Yeah, that's it. That's Italiano. So, mate, super excited about having this in here.
We gotta just jump into it now.
Yeah,
Tell
definitely.
us, okay,
Fantastic.
Stefano, you've got masters in organizational psychology.
Correct.
I
That's
want to
right.
know first of all what that is.
Yeah,
What that
I wanna
is,
know
yeah,
what that
okay. Well, so essentially my background's in psychology. I studied psychology undergraduate, and then I went on to do my honors. And then at that point, you get to decide what you would really want to do in the field of psychology. A lot of people tend to go into clinical psychology. That's where you generally do therapy. Whereas organizational psychology is about health and well-being in the workplace. There's a lot of other facets to organizational psychology, but essentially it's some people call it business psychology. And so it's looking at various different things within organizations, corporate companies, and how to improve, I guess, the overall health and well-being and the mental well-being of people in the workplace.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you got a little bit in on the. We were just chatting outside briefly, and you're talking to. You got a passion for keto, the keto diet. Is that right?
That's
You wanna-
correct.
You want
That's
to be
correct.
chatting about that? We'll chat about that.
This is so timely because last week I posted the benefits of intermittent fasting.
Yep.
And I know Liam is big on this. And then you emailed me a couple weeks ago, and I was super excited to speak with you, but we didn't have any slots. And then one opened up, and I was like, we got to get Stefano in to talk about this.
Stefano,
So,
the man.
and you were telling us this diet is going to make you lose weight, give you more energy, be more mentally clear.
Not only that though, it's eating fat in order to get there. That's
Wow.
that's the,
correct.
Yep.
So first of all, what is the keto diet?
Good question. So what is the keto diet? Essentially, the keto diet is, well, how it started was that originally it was a diet for certain types of therapy. Essentially, they used it in epileptic children. And they found that when they used a combination of intermittent fasting and a high fat intake, they were actually able to reduce the epileptic fits that these children would have. Now this was they started testing this back out in the 1920s, and then it was, I guess, more popularized back in the 1960s. And essentially now, in more recent times, what they've started to realize is that it can actually it has further benefits than just therapy, and actually be quite beneficial to the population in general, especially athletes. And now what you're looking at, essentially, the keto diet is a breakdown of your daily caloric intake into 70% or around that comes from fat sources. So your nuts, your avocados, animal fat, bacon.
I'm so glad that you said nuts. I have an addiction to nuts. I really do. I love them.
That's the best stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, keep going. Music to my ears.
Yeah. 25% of your daily intake is protein, so from meats and cheeses and things like that, and then 5% is carbs or sugars. Mm-hmm. So the idea essentially is to reduce your carbohydrate intake to a minimal carbohydrate intake, which is generally will come through the intake of veggies or really low carb foods. And the rest of the diet essentially is fueled by fat. You use energy. Your body uses the fat for energy instead of using carbohydrate and glucose as its main fuel source.
Yep.
And then off the back of that, what happens is the body starts to produce what are called ketones. That's where the term ketogenic diet comes from. And these ketones essentially is what your body also uses for fuel. Now, particularly for the brain. Your brain actually, so fat can't actually be used as energy for the brain. It can't cross the brain-blood barrier. Okay. However, ketones can. So your liver actually self-produces these ketones, and your brain uses that for energy, and your body uses that for energy. And that's, I guess, in a nutshell, what the ketogenic diet is.
Yeah.
So where I've fallen down, right, is that making it challenging to sustain. That's where I've fallen with the keto thing, keto way of living. And it's not the lack of discipline, it's maybe the lack of knowledge. And maybe what we were talking about before, it's like, you know, you just got to, if you do have that carb or bread or whatever it may be, we're steering away from Italians.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how hard is that to
100%.
get? My nonna would kill me if they found out I'm not eating bread or pasta. So how do you keep it sustainable? Is it about just trying to come back or do it in periods, a cyclic? Can you do a cyclic keto?
Well, that's a great question. There's various forms of the actual ketogenic diet itself. So there's what they call a cyclical ketogenic diet, where essentially you would pick one day a week where you actually have a carb reload day. So on that day, you actually totally inverse your proportions of food, and you would have a majority of carbohydrates for that day, reduce your fats down to minimal, and then have moderate protein. And that day would essentially help. There's various reasons why people do it. One, I mean, there's a sanity component to it, right? You like to have some carbs. You want to, you know, it's hard not to go out with friends and go out and eat stuff. So you pick your one day where you kind of have, I guess, your cheat day.
Yeah.
But there's also some great, benefits from a health and athletic standpoint. That one carb refeed day essentially helps refuel the muscle with the carbohydrate and the glucose.
Yeah.
And essentially helps repair the body, but also helps you push harder the following week in your subsequent workouts. And your training. So that's one way. The way I actually do it is called a targeted ketogenic diet.
Okay. How does that work?
So how that works basically essentially is my days are all keto. So I'll stick to the ketogenic diet. I'll stick to the 70-25-5 principle. But what I will do before high intensity workouts on those days, so I generally do 5 to 6 high intensity workouts a week.
I thought you were going to say a day then.
Oh, not a day.
Wow, you're an athlete, man.
A week.
A week.
On those days, I'll actually maybe say an hour, half an hour before the workout, I'll eat something like an apple or a banana, something that's quite high in fructose and has glucose in it, so that my body actually uses it during that workout.
Because that's just what Stefano says, because it's the glucose that helps with the explosive movement if you're doing resistance or weights work, and a lot of CrossFitters, I think they've been finding that it's more challenging to keep on the ketogenic diet because they're always doing explosive movements mixed in with the endurance as well. But if it's exactly right. You have to periodize your when you're eating the fructose and the glucose.
Correct. And I find generally if you take the glucose or sometimes it can be something like dextrose, which is literally just pure sugar, and you drink it down, or a banana or an apple, and you take it in before that workout. Generally, you tend to burn it. If it's a high intensity workout, you'll tend to burn it through that workout, and then I'll be back in ketosis after. After the workout.
After the workout.
So exactly that. I use it to help me in those explosive movements. It helps me also push harder in the workout, use that fuel, and then I'm back.
So
back
with
in
it,
keto.
is everyone, as soon as you're after a workout, you're back in ketosis? So it's like the So what I'm getting at is that if someone finds it challenging to go in ketosis, if you work out, does that mean that you're automatically going to be started to be going in ketosis, and that's when you can start you can periodize it even better? Does that make sense? Or is it because you've been in keto, then you've had that fructose, and then you've had a workout, and then you're back in keto? Which way?
So that's interesting. So yes and no. Yes and no. It really depends on your level of intake. Let's say if you've had a high carb day and you've been smashing 200-300 grams of pasta, and then you go do a workout, chances are you wouldn't have burned, unless you've done a very substantial workout, you wouldn't have burned through all those carbohydrates. So with the ketogenic diet, what tends to happen is that about between 10 to 12 hours, if you were say to fast for 10 to 12 hours, your body would start to produce ketones. Okay. Essentially, your body tends to use up all its glucose stores within a 10 to 12 hour period, and that's when you start to go into what is called ketosis. As soon as you start to eat, though, your body gets knocked out of ketosis right away. But what happens is when you follow a ketogenic diet, you want to make sure that you maintain those ketone levels, and you do that by essentially reducing that carbohydrate intake so that glucose doesn't get into the blood. Insulin comes out and then removes it from the bloodstream, and then it gets stored as fat. Okay. So that's the challenge. So what a lot of people do when they start the ketogenic diet is they tend to fast for a couple days to try and deplete their glucose stores, and then from there they start to follow a ketogenic diet rhythm.
I have a question because I am so new at this. I don't even know what a ketogenic diet is. Okay, you've just explained the fat percentages, but like on a day-to-day basis, can you just walk us through what happens when you wake up? Like, do you start with lemon and water, and then you fast, and like, can you just? Yeah, definitely.
Good question, Sheena.
That's a very good question. So what does my day look like? Essentially, because I train a lot, I tend to eat a little bit more than what you would see some people in a ketogenic diet. So I'll wake up, I will have lemon with water, and there's a purpose to that, especially on a ketogenic diet. I think I know what that purpose is. And so then I'll wake up and I'll have what they call a bulletproof coffee. Okay. Which is essentially
these are yummy.
Is that what Brian Rose drinks?
These are yummy. We haven't bulletproof coffees for a while.
Is that when you add fat to it? Like
it is.
Yeah, okay.
I add
Talk us through. So
I make my coffee in the morning and I'll add a teaspoon of butter.
Is it organic butter?
It is organic butter, of course. And a teaspoon of organic coconut oil. Now I've actually also got some MCT oil, which is essentially pure fat oil, from a company called Bulletproof, that I use in the mornings. And so I put that all together, blend it up, and that's my little morning pick-me-up.
Is it hot or cold?
Hot.
It's hot.
Okay.
It is hot.
Yeah, so I made that mistake. So I made the coffee and then I
blended it with ice.
Blended it with ice. No, I blended it, but then it went cold. So what you do is you add a little bit of hot water before you blend it, and a little bit after.
Correct. Because then that breaks down also the coconut oil. Otherwise it goes hard.
It's hard. Yeah. Okay, so you start with your coffee.
So start with the coffee. Then I'll have my first meal, breakfast. What
time is this? Well, first of all, what time do you wake up at?
I wake up about 6:30.
Okay.
6:40 in the morning.
You have your lemon water. You drink your coffee.
Correct. I start to get ready for the day. Actually, I make my meal in the morning for lunch. Okay. So I'll start getting that ready, and then after that's cooked, I'll get breakfast going, which I have 4 eggs, with about 60 grams of mozzarella cheese in there.
Wow.
And then I'll smash.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And then I'll smash half an avocado as well.
How good's this diet?
Yum.
Not bad.
Oh my god, that sounds
it's
just
not bad at all.
Is it like an omelet that you made?
Yeah, I make an omelet. Yeah,
awesome.
correct.
Scrambled eggs.
And do you put salt on the avocado? Himalayan
salt? Salt and a teaspoon of olive oil.
Oh,
best diet in the world. I'm telling you, it's not bad diet, is it?
That is wonderful.
It's not bad, is it?
And so that's what my breakfast looks like. And then we get to lunch. About 250 grams of salmon, a little bit of olive oil, and again, salt, and then I'll get in about 200 grams of veggies. So it makes veggies. So that's broccoli, carrots, asparagus. What I tend to do is I cook it in the morning and I steam it very quickly, not too long, and then I toss it in a tablespoon of butter in the pan.
Yep.
And then that's it. It's ready to go, and that's my lunch. And then dinner, essentially. Then I'll have my snack before I go and work out. Which will generally I'll get in. So I get part fat and part carbohydrate in that one. And
peanut butter and apple.
Peanut butter and apple. Yeah,
look at the face on it.
That's a good one. Peanut butter and apple, almond butter.
I was gonna say almond butter. I didn't know how.
I chuck in whipped cream too. Full fat whipped cream.
Oh, yes.
Sugar free, of course.
Yeah, of course.
With that,
you push it to the edge, don't you?
Yeah, I go full on. Otherwise, 30 grams of macadamia nuts.
What do you think of? Because that sounds an awesome nutrition plan, you know, and that's not that hard to follow as well, you know. So, what do you think of the supplements?
The keto supplements?
Yeah, keto. Have you heard of them?
There's quite a few out there.
So I was taking the Keto S supplement, and it's from that's the company Keto S.
Yeah.
And I found that it was really useful in terms of helping you fast. You know, and so like you get up and have that in the morning, and then you're not hungry until like 12 o'clock. So it's like a mini fast every day. That's what helped. On the flip side of things, you know, if you have, it says that you shouldn't. Really on the keto diet, you should try and minimize your caffeine intake. So my issue, this is where I think I fell down, is that you have this keto supplement in the morning that's got caffeine in it. You can choose to have the caffeine, not caffeinated. And then I'm having another coffee at 11 o'clock with my bullet coffee. There's 2 coffees a day, and I'm just wired on coffee after that. You know, and then which what I like about your way is that you're getting up in the morning and you're increasing your metabolism through the lemon water, and then you're already setting up your day for success. You're having a bit of caffeine there, and you're setting up your day with success through your actual eating, and it's not taking away your nutrition as well. That's what I like about your way.
Correct.
So there's different types of methods, I guess.
There is many different types of methods.
And it depends on the person. A bit depending on the person, because I don't think that way was serving me as well for a long period of time. That's why I feel as though that the supplement's awesome. You know, it's great to help you get in a form of ketosis, and from there, it's great habits to keep you going.
Definitely.
So when do you fast then?
So I at the moment I'm not fasting.
Okay.
Currently, but that's purely out of choice because of my training regime and what I'm trying to achieve through that.
Yeah.
Generally, fasting though would happen in the morning. So what people tend to do on a keto diet, especially people who are trying to lose a lot of weight or reduce their body fat heavily, will actually fast in the morning. So they'll get up, they'll have a bit of water, then they'll have their bulletproof coffee, and then they'll fast until about say 12:30.
Yeah.
That's me this morning, accidentally. I've been fasting, which is good.
Yeah, actually, today has been a fasting day for myself as well, because today's not a training day.
Yeah.
And so on my non-training day, I'll fast.
Yeah.
And how long will you fast for?
So I'll fast. I generally will fast till 12:30, but today I'll probably go a little bit longer. But it doesn't really. I don't get the hunger cravings and the food cravings as much being on a keto diet.
Yeah.
And that's mainly due to the fact of the fat.
Yeah.
So the fats and the ketones themselves that your body produces actually reduces your food cravings, your hunger cravings. So you actually, on a keto diet, you sometimes not forget to eat, but you just have to remind yourself, I need to get in enough, because you're not actually that hungry.
If you look at that's where it came from, like the essence of the caveman diet. If you look at the caveman, they might not have ate for 2-3 days.
Yes.
You know, so we had to go into that form of survival mode, because if we didn't eat for 2 or 3 days, because we haven't caught that animal, you know, so, and we're snacking on maybe a few berries here and there, but that's where the essence of human beings has been built on, and we haven't changed our DNA that much since then. That's why the fasting comes into it. That's what I don't know, that's a personal thing. I don't know if that's why they call it the caveman diet. That's a little bit more similar towards the paleo.
Yeah.
The keto is a lot more in depth. You know, they have no bread, no wheat, no flour, nothing like that. Only fat.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. That you really, really tend to like the fat in this diet.
Yeah, the fat's important because that's where your body gets the energy. Now, again, depending on what you want to do, you can eat more or less fat. Now, you can go overboard with the fat, and then your body, and then nuts, and like so
you go nuts on nuts.
You go nuts on nuts.
Speaking of the different types of fat, so you have nuts, you've got avocados, you've got macadamia nuts. There's also even different grades in nuts as well, isn't there? About the different types of nuts.
Correct, and some are better than others.
Yeah, that's
right. What are the best ones?
The best ones are macadamias and I believe like Brazilian nuts.
Yeah.
Brazilian nuts, that's right. Yeah.
Those are great. Almonds, not as much. And also the great part about this diet, what you want to do is people are like, oh, you get to eat nuts, but the best part is you get to eat salted nuts.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bring on the salted cashews, baby. Brazilian nuts. Salted Brazilian nuts.
And the reason for that is that basically with when you're on a ketogenic diet, one of the big things that your body is obviously reducing is the carbohydrate intake, and so that actually reduces a lot of water retention in the body, which can actually lead to some potential dehydration. And the first thing to go are your electrolytes, so sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Those are actually really important to replenish, and that's why on a keto diet it's okay to crank up the salt a bit, because your body doesn't hold on to it as much. It actually dumps out a lot through sweat and through other means. And so it's actually okay to have a bit more sodium in your diet and actually increase that intake. So salted nuts are great for that.
I eat salt plain. Sometimes I just take a pinch and I put it in my mouth because I love it.
I love salt.
It's a Himalayan salt, of course.
Yeah,
it's not table salt. It's the proper salt.
It's the good stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just
you're having salt by the spoonful there, Sheena.
I am.
That used to be me with Nutella. Now I'm on the keto. I'm on no more Nutella, man. I promise you, Stefano, no more Nutella for Liam.
Although I feel Nutella's good. It's a hard one to give up.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was good on keto.
I'm
I'm in. I'm back.
I wish.
Stefano, do you coach this? Do you teach this? Are you you're a personal trainer? So can you talk a little bit about your business and
Yeah. So I've been a personal trainer for a long time now, and now I finished my psych degree and then got into corporate, and I'm working in there. But I do train, so I do help clients essentially transform their bodies, and specifically in the weight reduction area.
Whereabouts are you doing it? Do you have your own studio?
No, at the moment I'm doing it all online.
Oh, online.
So I mainly do it through Instagram.
Okay.
So on my Insta page, I post up a lot about the keto diet and what I'm eating and how I'm going through it, and then through that, if people are keen to jump on the keto diet, I help coach them through it, explain a lot of things. Because with the keto diet especially, it is a fantastic diet, but there are things to be aware of, especially from a health perspective, because some people go crazy on it, and then they miss out on specific things.
Yeah.
They start to intake way too much fat. They don't balance it out with enough vegetables.
Yeah.
Which can lead to problems with the gallbladder.
Yeah.
Not drinking enough water. I drink water with lemon because that actually reduces the uric acid, which is brought on by ketones.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of science behind it and what goes into it. So it does have to be monitored, especially at the start when your body is getting what they call keto adapted. So being in ketosis is one thing, but your body being actually adapted to the ketogenic diet and using ketones as fuels takes about, on average, 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
It can take less, but generally most people tend to take 4 to 6 weeks, and so you have to coach them through that process, get them to that point, and then obviously the body starts to essentially get used to it and take over, and then also as well coaching people how to train while on the keto diet is important as well, and getting that training and coaching.
Yeah. And that's awesome. So you don't do physical training with people? It's just online?
Not as much anymore. Not as much. I used to do a lot of it. Now I do mainly online.
Yeah.
So your Instagram account is adventures_of_a_health nut.
Yes, correct.
Adventures_of_a_health nut.
Yeah.
Do you call yourself a health nut?
I think most people do.
Yeah. Where do you consume your information? What kinds of people do you look into and read?
Well, at the moment, so I've been reading Fat for Fuel.
Okay.
Which is a great book about essentially keto. But it's also about the benefits of having a fat-fueled diet and how it actually can be beneficial in certain diseases like cancer.
Yeah.
Against those types of things. I like to listen to, there's a YouTuber, or he's a doctor, but he's called Dr. Eric Berg.
Okay.
And he's really great. He's got a lot of knowledge on the keto diet, but just as well in terms of just general human physiology.
Okay.
So I do listen a lot to him and a lot of things that he has to say. A new book has recently just come out. I forget it's Dr. Jacobs. Something, I can't remember his last name, but they've just come out with a ketogenic Bible.
Okay.
So that's a whole book that actually has a wide range of studies and science into the ketogenic diet and health and well-being in general.
Yeah.
But a lot of it, I mean, I try to consume as much non-mainstream media as
good answer.
as possible, and go out there. And I love watching documentaries, especially controversial ones.
Have you seen What the Health?
I have. I saw it a couple weeks back.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
It was very interesting. I think they had a lot of great points. I think I think the first part of the documentary was slightly misleading.
Yeah.
When they said, "Oh, sugars aren't bad," which I agree with. If that's the only fuel source you use. So I think that's the important thing. People forget. They say, "Oh, sugar's bad and fat's bad." I think everything's bad when you start mixing everything up together. Anything that's refined, and refined sugars obviously are really bad. Processed foods in general are bad. However, sugars and carbs from your fruits and your vegetables are fine if that's what you're mainly taking in. If you start taking in a lot of bad fats with that as well, that's when it starts to get out of hand. And inversely, if you take a lot of fats with the sugars, that's when it starts to get bad as well.
Yeah.
So it's important to I think, pick a fuel source and stick with that.
Yeah. And is it safe to say you eat only organic and grass-fed meat and?
Correct. I try to most of the time. There are a few occasions where I don't.
Yeah.
But most of the time, as much as I can, I try to go organic.
Yeah.
How do you handle your social life around that? Do you find that's challenging, or do you just cultivate yourself around people who are similar mindsets? So
yeah, I mean, I try to, it's interesting, especially when I'm at work. A lot of people are always like, "Oh, you're always so healthy and taking care of yourself." And so sometimes I work as a challenge because they always bring in all kinds of food. And people are bringing in all kinds of
sweets
things.
And muffins and
and so, I mean, look, there are days where it's tough. You look at a donut and you're like, "I want that donut."
Yeah.
Do you have do you have a backtrack on it, or are you always set nah, I'm focused?
There's definitely times. Where I'll cheat, and then I'll feel bad the next day.
Yeah.
But no, I'm pretty disciplined with it now, especially when I have a goal in mind, especially with the training. I put a lot of effort and work into it to then go and blow it out. Doesn't really serve what I want to do.
Yeah.
So now, honestly, I've gotten used to it. In terms of social life, I go out. Eating on a keto diet actually not too hard when you go out.
Steak and salad.
Perfect. It's actually not that bad. But again, I will allow myself a cheat day or a cheat night. It just means that on that day or the next day, I just have to train twice as hard.
Yeah. Well, and just on your training, what type of training do you do? Are you CrossFitter? Are you more of a split workout type of person?
Yeah, I used to CrossFit a lot. I used to be a CrossFit coach as well. Now I do CrossFit style training, so I'll mix it up with strength. So generally my session's about an hour and a half. I'll do the first 30 to 40 minutes based on pure strength training, and then the subsequent hours probably on high intensity training.
I have the book, the Primal Workout or the Primal Diet or something.
I've heard of that book.
Yeah, it's a workout. I was going to actually bring it. It's a workout that a lot of CrossFit people do.
Is this the functional one? Is it
no,
squat,
it's just called
lunge,
the
bend,
Primal
push, pull,
Primal Handbook. That's what it's called. The Primal Handbook.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll bring it for you. I was going to bring it today, but I just thought
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be it's definitely an interesting one. I mean, I think at the end of the day, there's many different types of training, and at the end of the day, it's what works for you, because a lot of people like certain types of training. And it's what you're going to stick to, and it's what makes you happy and keeps you going to the gym. A lot of people like to do bodyweight stuff, and that's great. People like to do boot camps and people love cardio and like to run or like to swim. Other people like to lift heavy weights. What I try to push is just being active.
Yeah.
Getting out there and move your body in different ways. Doing whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But just
if you stop, you rust.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying before.